Hello, my name is April and welcome to the Yoga Ranger Studio and welcome to our practice today. This is Sherlock. He may help us for a little while. We'll see how long he sticks around. This practice is going to be focused on all of those of you who struggle with a lot of the really bent knee poses. In Yin, we have a lot of poses that do put some pressure on the knees. And if you are someone recovering from knee surgery or headed into knee surgery or someone who just needs to take care of their knees today or all the time, this practice will not include any hard weight or really deep 90-degree bending on your knees that will put any kind of pressure on them. With that said, if you need props, and I have a blanket underneath me, you can use a couple of blankets or beach towels to give you a little bit more softness to some of these poses. But we're gonna start with caterpillar pose. So taking that blanket or beach towel, if you're like me, you kind of have tight hamstrings, setting it up at the edge of the mat, sitting on the very edge of it, taking the feet out. Now I like this pose to be a little bit soft, so you want to keep some bend in the knees, give a little opening there. If you have more mobility, you can always take the feet together side by side, or you can keep those legs straight. But I find this kind of helps me let your body kind of follow gravity forward as you get that tilt from the blanket or beach towel. And then just drape yourself over your knees. Now remember, in Yin, we don't push ourselves to fold super deep. We go to what our natural point is. Pull back just a tiny bit. You can rest your hands on the floor or on your legs. Like I said, if you have more opening, then feel free to take those legs straighter, closer together, or even fold a little bit deeper. Find a pose that's sustainable for you. And as you settle into the pose, you will feel things begin to soften and release. Maybe you find in these first few breaths that you can take the legs a little bit straighter. Maybe not. If you have an extra towel, you can roll it up and put it underneath the knees to give a little bit of support as well. Or even blocks or a bolster. Use the length and depth of your breath. Inhaling deeply, exhaling, extending a little bit longer on that exhale to release the muscles and soften into the pose. Just a few more breaths here. Take your hands and start to press yourself up. Lean back a little bit. Maybe wiggle those feet around. Or you can be still if that feels more appropriate for your practice. I like to lift the chest and the heart toward the ceiling. It's been a long forward fold, and for me that feels really good for my back. Keeping in mind that in yin, some of the poses may be uncomfortable, but they should never be painful or sharp shooting pain or shocking. But they may be some discomfort, some sensation of discomfort. So our next pose we're going to take is going to be Sphynx. So if your knees are really, really tender, you can take a blanket underneath those knees. If they're not, you can kind of let them float out to the side, or even off the edge of the blanket to take any kind of weight off the knees. Take the arms out in front of you, elbows either underneath the shoulders or a little bit out in front. As wide as shoulders if that feels good for you, palms flat or palms together. And just think about lengthening the body just a little bit and then letting everything kind of soften. You can drop your chin to your chest if that feels good for you, or keep it level with the back. If you want more shoulder opening, and you have that capacity, you can drop the body in between the shoulders, letting the shoulders soften down the back. Here again, breathing in, allowing some space. If you need to, you can take your feet wider if that feels better for your back. In this last minute, noticing all the sensations that come up throughout the body. The back, the chest, the arms, the legs. Becoming aware of all the things that this pose affects in your body today. And you can stay in this pose if this feels good for you, or if you would like to, you can take the hands a little bit wider out to the side, thumbs pointing forward a little bit more, and lift up into seal pose. Now your arms don't have to be completely straight in this pose. They can be bent or halfway in between, but just keep the shoulders soft down the back. Soften the back muscles and the glute muscles and the legs. Just a couple more breaths here. Always keeping in mind, if it becomes too much, just come back down into Sphinx pose. Gently bending the elbows out to the side, and no matter what pose you're in, lowering yourself all the way down, taking your hands on top of one another and resting your forehead on the back of your hands, just softly swaying the hips a little bit side to side. And gently lifting up. You're going to roll over to the side, take that blanket, if you were using it, off to the side. You won't need that again. And come onto your back. So taking those legs out straight. Take the arms out to the side for just a breath or two here, letting everything soften in this position. And then walking those feet a little bit over to the right. Now in banana pose, we can take that right leg and cross it over the left, but if that puts pressure on your knee and that doesn't feel comfortable, just keep those legs side by side, or those heels side by side. Move the upper body over as well so that you have this banana shape where you're getting the opening on the left side of the body. Arms go up overhead. You're going to grab hold of that left wrist with that right hand. If you wanted to use the blanket for a prop here, you could, to rest your arms on. So let's say your arms don't come all the way down to the floor. You want a little space there. You can grab hold of the elbow, the forearm, the wrist. Just keeping both hips planted on the floor. Breathing into that left side body all the way from the left toes up to the left fingertips. If you feel any tingling in your fingers, you might want to release some, or all the way down where your arms are just out to the side. Checking in with sensations, with your breath, becoming aware of all the things you're feeling throughout the body, maybe also things you're feeling mentally or emotionally. When we work with connective tissue, oftentimes emotions come up. We're moving things around and making space and shifting energies. And that can result in feeling a lot of things that we thought were either gone or buried. Last deep inhale and exhale. Really inhale, fill that entire left side body up. And exhale through your mouth. Maybe releasing your arms here. Moving the upper body back first. And then if you had the legs crossed, uncrossing. Taking those heels wide. Just letting the body rest here. And noticing whatever you may feel in that space in between the poses. Checking in for the difference between the left and right sides. And then getting ready for our second side. So walking the feet way over, this time to the left. If you want to, and that's comfortable for your knee or knees, you can cross that outside leg on top. So that left leg on top of the right, or just keep those ankles side by side. Arms up, move the upper body over just a little bit over to the left as well. This time grabbing hold of that right arm wherever it feels appropriate here, remembering that each side is different, so you may find a little different positioning here that works for your body. Breathing into the right side body. This last minute in this pose, checking in with the breath, extending the exhale a little bit longer, helping us move into that parasympathetic nervous system, that heal and rest and digest and restore part of the nervous system. And this last breath, inhaling deeply and fully into that right side body. Exhaling through your mouth, releasing your arms and moving your upper body back into place. Hands alongside the hips, and if you cross those ankles, uncrossing, taking the heels wide. Taking a few breaths here in Shavasana to sort of settle and check in with the body. Then gently bending those knees, bringing the feet flat. You don't have to bend them a lot, just a little. You're going to shift your hips over to the right. And then bring those knees in a little bit closer, but you're going to keep the opening there and drop the knees over to the left. Now, if this feels too much for you, you can always take the legs out straighter or more. Taking that right arm over to the side, letting the knees fall all the way if they want to. Your other arm can be open in space, or if you want to, you can take your blanket and put it where your arm can rest on that, so you don't feel like you're kind of hanging out there. Don't feel like you have to bend your knees too much here. You can rest your hand on your belly or your knees. Turn your head to look over the right shoulder or straight up. These last few breaths, just allowing gravity to pull those legs wherever they want to go, helping kind of open the back and spiral the body open, feeling the effects of a nice deep twist. Gently turning your head back to center, engaging your core and moving those knees back through the middle, taking the feet flat, hips level. Shifting your blanket around in case you might need it for the other side. And just taking a few breaths here, letting the hips settle. Then getting ready for our second side, shifting the hips this time over to the left. And just bringing those knees in a little bit, keeping a gentle bend or legs straight over to the right. Left hand can go out to the left, using that blanket as a little bit of a prop. Right hand to the belly. Turn your head and look over the left shoulder or straight up. Noticing your breath here in the twist. It's become very shallow. Starting to once again extend that exhale, taking that 3-part breath, even in the twist. Belly, chest, collarbones, opening up the space of the left side body. Last few breaths. Inhaling, turning your head back to center, engaging your core and bringing those knees back through the middle. Here, taking our blanket underneath that knee space, letting the legs come out straight-ish, with a little bit of support. Arms out to the side, shoulders tucked underneath. Sensing any shifts in energy. Noticing any spaces in the body with more room or more mobility or changes. Noticing how during our practice we've become maybe a little calmer and softer, a little more inward focused, more aware of how our body is right now, today, in this moment, and also how and where our mind is in this moment. If you have more time to spend in Shavasana, I urge you to spend as much time as you possibly can in this pose. Taking the time to practice self-care and some softness. If this is all the time you have, go ahead and take your arms up overhead. Stretch through your fingertips, stretch through your toes. And then gently roll over to your right side, bending your knees gently, using your arm as a prop for your head. And slowly pressing yourself up. Here again, using that blanket as a prop to give you some space. Taking your legs however they feel most comfortable for you right now, especially knees. Dropping those fingertips down to the floor. Inhale, sweeping the hands all the way up, opening your eyes, link up your palms. Exhale, hands to heart. Peace and namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. Always check with your doctor before or after doing poses that may change how your knees are going to react. So if you're having some problems with your knees, check with your doctor to make sure that certain poses are really not off limits for you and what poses are available to you as well, what range of motion you have. Particularly coming out of surgery and repair, really follow the guidance of your physical therapist, asking them if certain positions of the knee are better or worse for you in a practice. And working with that, a lot of the poses you're taught in physical therapy are relative to yin yoga poses or yoga poses, but learning to work with that and kind of work around will help you gain that range of motion and care for your knees, being aware of where they're at and what they need and giving them that care and attention. Even if your knees are just tender, sometimes just taking care of them can really help you move past that tenderness or not make it worse, always helping to prevent further damage to the knees. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. If you enjoyed it, please like and comment down below. And if you are not a subscriber, I would love to have you join me each week for new practices. Clicking that subscription button down to your right-hand side, that just notifies you when there is a new practice up every Thursday, or you can just check back. If you would like to practice with me more, you can join me at theyogaranger.vhx.tv. There's a link up above and down below. Lots of opportunities there to practice many classes, many different styles, along with a live call each month, a practice calendar every single month, journal prompts, and lots of extras on there that I would love to have you check out. There's a 7-day free trial, so you have 7 days to check it out and see if it's going to work for you. Take a look around and evaluate whether it's going to be right for you and your practice. Thank you so much. Have a great week.